Welcome to the Greater Purpose Podcast. And again, you're not watching a repeat. This is not a repeat. Brandon Wisnett is here again, but this is a follow-up podcast, and we do follow-up podcasts with our guests that have been here before, and we come in and we talk about topical issues. We've talked about legislative stuff. We've talked about the hurricane relief. We've talked about a documentary that Shannon Williams and John Beard did down there at Finish Line Church, etc. So we had already discussed this ahead of time that we would have a second podcast, and we're going to jump right into it so that we can get to the details. But you and I are brothers from another mother when it comes to having experienced parental alienation. My wife has also had experience with that. I uniquely and not happily, but being a spouse of someone who has been through that and married to her while she also went through it. So previous to us being married and after we were married, me having experienced it twice, and then as a child, as an 11-year-old, having that division between the parents. Mm-hmm. Not quite as dramatic as a kid, except what it did to me. Right. Completely destroyed, in my opinion, my early years, which is why I was an atheist till I was 26, as we talked about previously. So anyway, I just want to preface all of that because you and I had some discussions, because you are heavily involved in hopefully some legislation that's going to help take care of a lot of the things that we've had to deal with in the same. So just go ahead and dive into it and tell us what you want. What do you want people to know out there about parental alienation first? What would you want them to know?
I think the first thing to know about it is, number one, it's much more common than you would imagine.
Yeah.
There is a clear distinction between parental alienation and parental alienating behaviors.
Okay.
There's a set of things that a parent, and it doesn't have to be a parent, it could be a relative, whoever has access to the child, can do. It could be bad mouthing, just right out saying bad things about the other parent, making the kid fear the other parent, those kind of things. Most oftentimes it ends up a lot more subtle than that.
Yeah.
Just cues.
Yeah.
If I come into you and I say, man, what did you do at Mom's house this weekend? Oh, we did this and this and this and that. Oh, really? That's all you did? That's all you ate? Just that little subtle thing. And the kid gets the idea of, okay, that didn't please whoever I'm answering to. So they start learning the script. They learn how to play the role just to protect themselves. Because, they're being torn between two people that they love more than anything. They want to trust the people more than anything. It's all they've known their life. And then, especially when you have divorce and it's splitting up, it's confusing. Parents are at their worst. Yeah. Things get said. The parental alienating behaviors can happen, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the child is alienated to the full process of what referred to as parental alienation. Mm-hmm. You can say something bad off the cuff, you're upset, whatever. Just because you said one thing doesn't mean that you're alienating your child. But when that campaign just is consistent, it can happen over weeks, months, years, just slowly just degrading the relationship that the child has.
There's an intent behind it.
There's an intent behind it. That's right.
Yeah. Well, and I would say that because I know that there are situations where, be careful how I say this, there are certain spouses who probably deserve to be called out because they're doing things that are going to be detrimental to the child.
That's right.
So I think that should be known. Mm-hmm. So the way that it's done is probably, or the intent at which, the intent behind it is what we're looking at here. So yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. My ex, I'll throw this in here. My ex, with hers, it was that subtle. Yeah. Your dad's not this, your dad's not this, your dad's not this. It wasn't that I was a drunk and I was cheating and I'm screwing around with women and doing all this kind of stuff. If I had been, personally, I would, probably not because of the way I see it now. The way I would have been looking at it from then, but the way I would be looking at it now, she probably deserved to call me out on it. I'm just saying. Some people don't think their kids should know the bad things about their parents, and I don't necessarily agree with that. if they're detrimental to the kid. So
Right.
anyway, having said that, hers was the. I still got the court papers somewhere that said that she was doing this,
Yeah.
and this, but she didn't. She acted like she wasn't doing anything like that.
Yeah, of course.
So the intent behind it was the thing. So right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
once I learned about it, I took a deep dive. I took the same, in the podcast before we were talking about heating and air company. Started dabbling and investing in real estate. And while I didn't really like school, I loved to learn. So when I dove into both of those areas of my life, I dived in head first, and I traveled, spent thousands of dollars, hundreds of hours all over the place learning from the people who knew better to learn how to run a business, so I didn't make the mistakes they did.
Right.
And I made sure that if I'm going to talk about parental alienation, or if I'm going to go to legislation, I want to know what I'm talking about.
Sure.
I want to make sure that everybody has a clear understanding that just because somebody says something bad about the parent doesn't mean that they're alienating.
Yeah. Okay.
But what I learned was, through all of it, is our family court system is largely to blame. Not because the people that are in it per se, but the institution as a whole.
Right.
They're so overbooked. They've got so many cases they have to hear every single day.
Yeah.
How long would it take you to go through all that paperwork that you got to show the judge to be able to get him to understand, hey, this is what's really going on? You're not going to get that kind of time.
Right.
So I learned, all right, well, the courts can't really help us with it because, our judges, they're not mental health professionals. They don't, we have the best interest of the child, but there's no scale on how to weigh what is the best interest. Right. How much do each one of those factors matter,
Right.
And, the judge can hear a lot of cases. They can practice family law forever. But if they haven't learned about this stuff, you'll miss it every time. You'll just see that it's a kid that there must be something wrong with that parent that they don't want to spend time with that parent.
Right. I will say this though, we had to go through. I thought it was mandated by the state. I thought before you could do the child custody thing, you had to. That's what I was told. Maybe they just told me that because they thought I wouldn't do.
Mediation.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. It wasn't necessarily called mediation, but both parents had to go together. Then each parent had to go separately.
Okay.
The kid had to go separately.
Oh yeah.
And then each parent had to go with the kid.
Yeah.
And this is where the paper, I'll let you see it when we're done. The paper, all you got to do is read the paper.
Yeah.
And according to my attorney, I switched attorneys to an attorney who knew what he was doing, because the first one spent a lot of money and did nothing. But the papers in the hands of this attorney, when he got them, were like, this is gold.
Yeah.
He had the summary. So I understand what you're saying. So maybe that if it's not something that's mandatory, maybe it should be mandatory.
Yeah.
So that a psychological review, because these people didn't know any of us from Adam. And I thought they were not going to see what was going on. I mean, I'm telling them stuff and they're like they're not paying attention. I thought. That's what I thought. And they came to visit each house too, by the way. They came and visited here and they visited her. Yeah, I'm telling you, this was crazy. It was great. Yeah. Very thorough. But I really didn't think it was going to amount to anything. I was just doing it because they told me I had to.
Yeah.
And literally, when I got those papers, it spelled out everything that I was trying to explain to them was happening. So they saw it.
Yeah. They
heard it from her. They heard it from the ex. They heard it from me, of course. But they heard a whole lot of other things too. But anyway, so if that's not mandatory, that's something that, in my opinion, should be mandatory.
So what I think, what I have found, Travis Page would be a great great resource, I believe.
Yeah.
I went all the way up through the Health and Human Services, Department of Social Services, all your domestic violence advocacy groups, the children's groups, went all the way up. It's like, look, we have this problem. Can we create this solution so that we have less burden on our judges, and we can get custody back where it belongs, not between two adversarial parents inside of a courtroom that are at the worst parts of their life. I mean, all they're doing is slinging mud. They're just creating two adversaries. They walk out of there. Even if somebody gets what they want, you have a winner and a loser that walks out.
Right.
So if we could get it more over to like a mental health type, social services, some type of evaluator that can step in and see it, that has the experience, that has the knowledge and the education to be able to really dig into these families and figure out what's going on. Because if we can get it right the first time, you're not going to have all those multiple families running back to court, back to court, clogging it up.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a minute too.
And Travis Page, the thing that they've adopted, and I think he said it was from Mecklenburg County, to where they started talking about the ACE score and doing like a diversion type sentencing, when they found that these people just keep repeating, coming back through the doors and back through the doors. And they started digging into the ACE study, which is amazing if you don't know about it. We can talk about it some. But what it does is it looks at childhood development. It's adverse childhood experience is what that is. And what they find is these repeat offenders have an extremely high ACE score, meaning they went through lots of traumatic events as a child. So instead of just continually running them back through the jail cells, back through the court system, what Travis and those guys have created over there of, let's get these people help.
Right.
Let's find out why they keep reoffending.
Yep.
Well, it baffled me that I heard that come out of our court system before I was talking about the ACE studies with the human source, Health and Human Services. Right. Like I'm discussing the ACE score with them, and the leadership acted like they knew nothing about it.
Huh.
And it just
they're using it in the other.
Really shocked me. So I said, if these groups could get together and say, you know what, our courts do have a lot of custody issues coming in. Yeah, maybe we don't always get it right. Let's bring in somebody from over here who's trained. We have a children's advocacy center here for Gaston County.
Right.
Why don't we use that amazing resource, bring them in, the Hope United Domestic Violence Shelter or service? It's already inside the courthouse. It's in one of the old courtrooms. Why can't they have, when you have these custody cases, a mediation type thing like what you were talking about, to where they can really talk to the child, talk to both parents separately and together, and figure out what's going on and help these parents that are going through that terrible time in their life start realizing they need to focus on the child, and the child doesn't need to know about the divorce. They don't need to know all the details. If dad did something, you mentioned that kid may need to know something about that. If a father was an alcoholic, mother was an alcoholic, and got fixed, helped themselves, gave up the alcohol, that doesn't mean they're a terrible parent. So why should they lose their parenting time?
No, right.
Just because they had something that was wrong. So
so how so many different ways to go, and we can't obviously do that on one episode. What is going to be the best way to get the awareness to legislators to understand the importance of because when I was going through mine, I was looking for organizations that would help me, and there was nobody.
I'm lucky.
There were people trying to do what you're doing, and there are organizations now. But this would have been 2008 when mine started, and then ended up, 6 years later, I guess, whatever. There was nobody to help. So, I mean, that was, but what would be the best way to let legislators, because I'm guarantee you there's somebody out there listening right now who's been in this situation.
Oh, there's lots.
Yeah.
So here's the approach. All of us, when I say all of us, all the dads, moms and stuff, part of the advocacy groups, we've all told our stories to everybody. They've all heard it. No one listens.
Right.
They don't know what to do with it. That's the main thing. They really don't know what to do with it. And myself, going through Gaston County trying to see if we could get some type of program going. When I made it to the top, they essentially said that, protecting our children is our highest priority. If you can get something from the state level down, we'd be happy to do something.
Start with the state.
Which is, I'm trying to be polite.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is sad.
Yeah, you're thinking what I'm thinking.
Because it doesn't take the state. In fact, I'll tell you what we are doing. We said, fine, we'll do that. If you guys aren't able to perform for the public like we pay you to do, we'll get the legislation passed, and we'll make it to where you guys have to live with inside a guideline. So again, when I was building my home service business, I didn't do it from scratch, and I didn't do it alone. I went and seen what worked, and I learned from people. I didn't reinvent a wheel. So I've joined an advocacy group. The leader of it, his name's Robert Garza. Easy website, robertgarza.us. It lists out all the bills. He went through 10, 12 years of family court. spent like $700,000.
Wow.
All the court fees. He had like 40 something false allegations against him. None of them proven. All of them never arrested. And finally, like, seen all the problems with the courts and said, all right, how do we fix them? So he went in and he started amending his state of Texas bills and come up with a few that are just absolutely amazing.
Nice, right.
I mean, it's absolutely amazing. And all they are they're bumpers on a bowling alley.
Sure.
They're there to kind of help the judges, not take away their discretion, but help them make decisions.
Sure.
Like, I'll give you an example.
Well, and in fairness, some of these judges don't have a clue what we're talking about.
That's right.
They've never experienced.
That's
I
right.
mean, I'm not throwing off on them. I'm glad they've never had to. But
right.
they've never been a child of that.
Yep.
They've never been through it with a spouse. They had a divorce. They did the divorce. They got the custody, and off they went.
Yep.
Whatever the situation, they have no idea. When I mentioned parental alienation to people back in 2010, they thought I was absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I had some people tell me that it didn't even exist, and I'm like,
Well,
I'm looking at it. It's happening.
So it doesn't exist.
Yeah. Well. Okay.
So I can tell you about the two camps right now that are fighting on the mental health side of it.
Okay.
Parental alienation syndrome was created or coined back in like the early 80s, mid 80s.
Okay.
And they tried to make up this whole new psychological paradigm that was happening, which there was some truth to that.
Yeah.
However, the American Psychological Association said, no, that's like all the stuff you're trying to put onto this new syndrome, all these things already exist. Like everything that's happening to the child, it's already in, I don't know if you're familiar with the DSM, that's where all the diagnoses come from.
Okay.
Yeah. So all the things that a parent does to the child, they're already listed in there.
Yeah.
So I get it from both angles. You got one faction that says, hey, if we can get this into the DSM, then that means that the schools will start teaching it. And that we can have it to call it. And then you've got other people that are really like on the technical side of psychology says, no, quit confusing people. What's happening here is they are psychologically abusing this child. They are taking everything that this child is supposed to be being nurtured and grown up with, and they're being completely jaded by one side or the other to completely rewrite everything that they know.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. So, but you were about to give me an example. Sorry, I jumped in and I
No, it's fine. Like I say, we can talk for hours and we go in 100 different directions.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, we've got one called Time Taken, Time Back.
Yeah.
Well, right now, one of the big things is called the silver bullet, where man and wife divorce, one of the parents' attorney says, hey, listen, if you'll go get a restraining order and say that you're abused this or abused that, it'll really help you in court, whether anything was happening or not. Well, what happens when these orders get filed is there's a week and a half time to investigate by the social services, the courts, the law enforcement, wherever the complaint was made. On an error precaution, they take the child from that person that's having it, and they've lost out on a week and a half, something like that. Well, what happens when it happens over and over and over again? Well,
or even that one time when it's proven that it was not legitimate.
So what the Time Taken, Time Back does is anytime one of those things are done, or something's used to where they hijack a Christmas and say, kid's not going to go with you. They don't want to go. They'll say it's the kids, and however it comes out. But and something like that happens, you miss out on all that time.
Right.
Well, what Time Taken, Time Back does, and a couple states have done it different. Some of them are doing time taken double the time back, which is great. Basically says anytime that a false allegation, custody was withheld for whatever reason, anytime that all that comes back and says that it was false or this or that, you get all that time back.
Yeah.
Right now it's at a judge's discretion. Most of the time they say, it's just water under the bridge, let's just move forward, something like that.
Yeah.
If it's just a one-off thing, that normally helps. That'll work. But when you've got a parent that's interfering over and over and over again, so once he created that law, his wife started doing something different. What she started to do at that point is she would have people by proxy. She would tell somebody else something, and because it had to do with abuse, they were required to report it.
Oh, wow.
So it would come in that way. Yes. So he pretty much took every single loophole that was used and drafted up about 10 or 12 amendments or new bills that plug every one of those.
Yeah. Well, and I don't have the liberty to speak on certain people, so I'm going to leave one out. I mean, I experienced one that they experienced. I wish I had discussed this ahead of time. I could have said, hey, but specifically to my circumstances, I was told, my child was in Illinois, I was here. It's supposed to be I believe it was a 4-week summer visit. So you had 3 months to schedule that window of, might have been 2 weeks, or it might have been 2 weeks, whatever it was. Okay. And so I'm getting ready to buy the plane ticket, and I make the phone call or send the email, and these are the dates, and I got this thing, oh no, he's at a summer camp. Okay, fine. Let me go back. Let me look at the other. Go through all the things. Get all the plane tickets. Get everything. Okay, got it lined up. Getting ready to pull the trigger. I'm going to do these. Oh, no, he's at NASA camp. Okay, fine. So I go through the next one. I change my vacation plans. I move it to this one. And now it's a soccer camp. And now you've got an entire summer taken up by quote-unquote other activities. Yep. And you're told that you can't have your kid because he doesn't want to come there. He wants to be at these things. Right. That was intentional.
That's a very common tactic.
It was very intentional. Super common tactic. And that should have been my problem at that time was I couldn't send the attorney in Illinois $1,000 to go to court so they could go knock on the door and pick him up and send him to North Carolina. Yeah. If I'd had $1,000, now probably more than that, probably 10, I probably could have done that, but I shouldn't have had to do that.
That's right. You shouldn't have.
I should have had an advocate where I could have called up and said, hey, I'm just letting you know, I'm doing these, I'm making these plans, this is what's happening. And that advocate should have been able to go to the courts for me and say, listen, he needs his visitation, he has visitation rights. And anyway, and that blew up into, I'm going to say 4 years or more of just chaos. Yeah. So, the whole thing was chaos, but that was chaos trying to do that. So anyway, so I've experienced, if you think it doesn't happen, it happens.
So there's a bill to fix that.
Yeah. Yes, and that's right. That's why I wanted you to talk about that.
Love the bill. I mean, all these are like one-pagers. This isn't like rewriting the whole, legislative book. These are easy.
And these are to add to the toolkit that the judge already has.
That's right.
This is not to take, like you said, this doesn't take anything away from them. Nobody's saying the judges are bad, they don't know what they're doing, they know how to do it. This adds to their toolkit. It's like if you're building something and you don't have a hammer. We're just going to put a hammer in there. So okay, go ahead.
This next one actually, it builds right on that with the judges and is a tool to help them out. So in all 50 states, it is a state jail felony for custodial interference. If you've got a court order that says your son's supposed to be here during the summer for X weeks, and you've got a court order that says that, if that gets denied, you call the cops out, show them the order, I'm supposed to have the kids this many weeks, or I'm supposed to have them on this days, or however your order goes. Then right now, no judge, no person on the street enforcing this stuff wants to arrest a parent because they're not letting the kid go over to see the other parent, especially on the first time. So what we've done with the three strikes law is we've made it 2 misdemeanors, then the state jail felony. Okay. So this is how it helps the judges out. When you've got a parent that's interfering with custody, something happens, they can't come over, whatever the reason is, you call the police, they go out, they write the report. Right then it's a class or whatever misdemeanor, and they get a $500 fine. All right. The second time that it happens, they go out, it's another $500 fine. Well, that already's eaten into the pocketbook, so it's a deterrent right there. The third time they go out, it becomes what it is right now, that state jail felony. They take the parent, they put them in cuffs, and they take them to jail, and then they take the kids. No. Obviously not in front of the kid. I mean, you do it tactfully. Yeah. But what that does is it helps the judges because it gives them a paper trail. Yeah, well, because they're reluctant to give a felony on a first time, of course. Right. And then the first time goes away, and then it's another time, and we didn't look at it, we didn't do it the first time, so we're not going to do it this time. Yeah. Yeah, so it's just an incremental enforcement of what should already be enforced. That's right. Yeah. So these first two, the time taken, time back, and then the 3 strikes, they all kind of work together. Yeah. And it's all to stop the problematic behaviors before it stops. They're all deterrents. Yeah. And the third one we'll talk about, which will kind of answer your $1,000 question.
Yeah. This one. Yeah, this is the one. So, and there's no way, guys, we're going to talk about all these. Right. So, we're going to talk about this one here was one that I because we discussed this last week, and this was one that I
is this the reimbursement?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that the one we're going into?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Yeah.
The third one would be reimbursement for parental alienating behaviors.
Yeah.
So if you've got the parent that's doing all this stuff, making the false allegations, withholding your child from you, bad mouthing, making the child fear you, all these little things, it puts the burden back on the person making the accusations when it comes back and says, hey, this is not true. They're doing it just to be able to stop the kids and to be a nuisance. It puts the burden of all the special investigations, the mental health evaluations, the home studies, the supervised visitation, any of these extra expenses, your personal attorney. So if you've got a person that's just using the courts to run just to make your life hectic, the judges can say, hey, you know what? They're here because you're doing this, 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 and this. I can clearly see you're doing that, 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 and that. Tell me why.
There you go. Yeah.
And when they can't give the answer, at the end of the judges say, stop your nonsense.
Right.
You're going to pay for all the court fees for today.
Right.
And that's another thing that's going to stop them from doing that before it starts. So we couldn't get much help from the state, the way that everything's written now and the way that our programs that we have locally work. So what we did is we put a bunch of guardrails in place.
Right.
That way they don't have to make those decisions. We don't have to rely on them to have the education. We can have it right in black and white right in front of the courts, and they can make easy, quick decisions and feel comfortable about making the decisions. Because now they have a track record in front of them. Now they have an understanding of what is this about.
So, again, I didn't get permission from people, so I won't use specific names, places, times, dates, or whatever. I'll just use general terms. If someone has custody and the other parent falsely accuses, basically talks the kids into falsely accusing, gets a court order, shows up at the door, takes the kids away.
Right.
And then, which this happened, and then it's discovered that they were false, that everything that the kids were even going to attest to in a court of law was a 100% lie. So you're saying, I guess, based upon some of these laws, that parent that instigated that would be the person responsible for
your lawyer, their lawyer, the courts, custody, forensic evaluations. They can cost you $20,000, $30,000 and take months and months and months to get. Well, right now, the way the courts are set up, you might have to wait months before you can see your kid based off these allegations that are over here.
Because that person had to wait. It was several weeks, and then it was proven that what was being said was not accurate, and then it was just done. Except that person had to pay their own attorney's bills.
Because, and here's another big thing, and I know we can.
No, it's okay. Yeah, we can. That's fine.
In criminal court, you got the right to due process. You have a right to an attorney. You have a right to your constitutional rights. In civil court, in family court,
nothing.
You don't get any of that.
No, you get right.
You don't get any of that.
You're automatically
most
guilty.
Most of the times you get lawyers that are really good at booking billable hours. And taking you for
no
a ride.
offense to my attorney friends out there. I
taking
know
you for a ride for as long as you'd want to take a ride for.
Well, and even in the case where, let's say, a parent believes that something is happening bad, I think it would make them more. It would be more of an urgency for them to find out if it's really true.
That's right. Before
they started making allegations and tearing kids out of their homes and going to courts.
That's right.
So if that parent really was technically trying to protect the children in what they were thinking they were doing, if they had gone about it a different manner, they would have discovered, okay, this is a bunch of crap. This is not happening. Never mind, we're not doing this. We're not going that route. So anyway, cool. I love it. So I know there's probably a dozen bills on that site. So say the name of the website again, Mark?
Robert
Garza.
Yeah.
Garza.
RobertGarza.us. You can find him on Facebook. You can go
Okay.
straight to the website.
Yeah.
I'm a member of the Facebook group. We've got a private groups in there for all 50 states.
Yeah.
Where we can kind of connect with other people.
So Robert Garza, Brandon Wisnant, you want to look up. What are some of the organizations, or what organization would they look up on Facebook?
The National Parents for Equal and Shared Family is one of them.
Okay.
That's really, really long.
That's long. Yeah.
Really, really long.
I got to write that down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more advocacy groups more so than organizations. There's tons of organizations out there that plug into these groups.
Right.
And I can't.
I got you. Yeah.
Tell you the names
So
of
it's
these
out
people.
there. The help is out there. The legislation. If you go on to that legislative page, I think you'll find. Well, first of all, you'll find all of the different bills that they're introducing, information on where they're being introduced, where they've been introduced, where they're in place, and where they're going to. Because there's some links that you sent me that showed additional states and stuff that are working on this. And how many states now have started to implement some of these?
I think there's 10 or 11 states that have implemented at least one of them already. Several have done a couple. Texas has done 3 or 4 of them already. Good news, I don't know, outside of this room and telling you now and a couple close friends that have been on the journey with me. We actually have 2 North Carolina legislatures that are ready to sign on to 3 of these bills.
Nice.
And it's the only 3 that we've presented so far.
Wow. Nice.
And interesting enough, the question that I got from both of them was, 1, why aren't these laws already? And 2, why do we need them? Just seems like common sense stuff. So
yeah, you'd be surprised, right? So so cool. Well, listen, I personally appreciate what you're doing. I won't have custody battles in the future. I mean, unless something happens with grandkids, which wouldn't be directly me anyway. But personally, I won't. I wish I had.
Unfortunately, if something could happen to your kids, because you'll find out it passes down through families as it's been done to them.
Yeah.
And a lot of these kids that grow up and eventually have kids, sometimes they don't get any access to entire half of their family if they've been turned against them.
Yeah. It's sad stuff. So well, and there is sadness in the fact that there are. This may not be down the same path, but this is sort of related. There are, and again, I've experienced it. There are relatives that separate themselves from their families purposely, don't want to be involved with them. There are children who become prodigal and disappear and don't want to have anything to do with their parents, having nothing to do with the parent that they're lashing out at, and none of that is biblical. You're going to turn this back around to something even more spiritual, although I believe it all is. None of that is biblical, and I'm going to fall in on the respect your parents, the command. We talked about this on I think the podcast before yours, but we did a little bit on yours. That there's a promise. God's words are either promises or commands, and He commands children to respect their parents. You may not like them, you may not agree with them, but and He promises a long life. Which means the opposite. If you disrespect them, you're not going to have long life. And that long life, like you said before about some of the other scriptures, there's more than just saying, okay, you're going to live a long time. That means a long and rewarding life, a fulfilling life, a life of Christ, a life that's glorifying God. So if you respect your parents, that happens. If you don't, it doesn't happen. I mean, the opposite is true. There's no in between on God's promise and stuff.
That's absolutely true. There's a small caveat in there. You do have the parents that just are out there kind of parents.
Oh, absolutely.
So, I mean, setting up a boundary and not putting yourself in. If you know you're going to go to a dinner and this is the way it's going to end up because this is the group that's there. Maybe you skip that.
Understand.
Dinner. Or maybe you go eat and you leave.
Totally.
But definitely, that's.
Stay connected. Stay strong. Stay in prayer. Stay in the Word. Continue to fight for your child if you're in this battle. If you are alienating your child for the purpose of alienating, not protecting them, but for alienating them, stop.
That's right.
Stop doing it. If your child has been alienated, I'm sorry to hear that. I understand that. Been there, done that. Still experiencing that. But God will bring you through it, and He doesn't expect you to be responsible for what someone else did. So don't hold that against yourself. You need to persevere for the glory of God. So anyway, anything else you want to wrap up with? Or?
I want to plug 2 documentaries.
Okay.
If any of you are interested and want to learn more, 2 really great groups. The first one is there's a documentary called Erasing Family, free on YouTube. Go watch it. The other one's called We the Parents, also free on YouTube. It's more recent than Erasing Family, but they both do a really excellent job covering the whole dynamics. I mean, when you hear about these kids that go through that, I mean, they ended up suicide, cutting themselves, alcohol, going through the system. I mean, it's really sad when you see the statistics, what happens to these kids when their lives are completely ripped inside out, from inside here and inside here. Not, you know, these bruises right here, they'll heal. What happens in here, it stays with you, and it creates your identity of how you see yourself. And I think as children or as parents for children, number one priority is to give that child the best chance, the best identity about themselves that they can, and let go of the tit for tat, let go of the, you know, I've got to get you back. You know, it's the kids are end of the day, that's it.
So, all right. Well, thanks for tuning in. A little bit different of a podcast. We hope you'll take this information and use it to the glory of God. We hope that it'll benefit you. We hope that you'll use it for the right thing and that you will pursue those good things. Brandon, thanks again for being here for the second podcast. And who knows, when we get some of this legislation passed, maybe we'll come in and go over some of that. Maybe we'll bring Donnie back in and thank him for some of the help that I know he's going to be. By the way, we have some really godly guys involved in the No Agenda Breakfast and in our politics here in Gaston County, representing our people. And Donnie Loftus is one of them. Brad Overcash is another one. Travis Page was another one that you mentioned. Justin Davis, Craig Collins, and there's more than that. Sorry guys if I didn't get everybody's name in there, but these guys are good, godly men, and they are looking out for you. So we appreciate you. God bless you, and take care. We'll see you on the next podcast of the Greater Purpose Podcast.